I'm Adam Johnson. My wife and I have grown our real estate business from nothing into the millions, and now my life's purpose is to show you how we did it so that you can do the same. Starting this month, I'm uploading a ton of free and very helpful videos that will be your step-by-step guide to starting an Airbnb business utilizing our go-to property acquisition technique called Subject to. Follow along these course videos, take notes, and dive into the exciting, challenging, yet very rewarding world of real estate investing with me, Adam Johnson. Enjoy. All right. Let's talk business foundation. I'm your assistant, Adam Johnson. Let me just say real quick that I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney. So nothing I tell you should be considered as legal or financial advice. I'm just letting you know what we've experienced over the past 7 years and some of the hardships that we've dealt with and how to overcome them. So I'm super happy, as I said, to assist you along your journey, but I just want to have that disclaimer out there for legal purposes. Let's jump right into it. What we're going to cover in this video for you guys, we're going to talk about setting up your entity, talk about whether it be an S Corp, LLC. We'll talk about the other ones as well, why you should and should not consider them. We'll talk about building your team, your CPA, your attorney, how to find them, how to interview them, amongst other key players within your business. We'll talk about the business bank accounts. You need more than just a checking account. I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you a little backstory on where we got the idea from and how powerful it's been in our business and how it set us up for success. And then lastly, we'll talk about you establishing a digital presence online, your websites, your TikTok, your Instagram, who's watching that stuff and why is it important? So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The most important part of your business, I'm gonna say it loud and stomp to the floor. The most important part of your business is having an entity, an LLC or an S Corp. You do not want to do business in your name. Again, this is not advice. Please talk to your CPA or your attorney to verify and get the best information for what you're trying to do. The way we look at it is as a separate entity is not you. For example, my business is Johnson Property Investments. My name is Adam Johnson. They are not the same. So when I do business within my business name, not as me, the individual, the business is its own entity. It has its own income. It has its own bank accounts. It has its own risk and insurance, all that kind of stuff. So God forbid, let me just say, God forbid a person, an Airbnb tenant wanted to sue me because they broke their ankle, for example. They could sue the business, whether they're right or wrong or win or lose, but they cannot sue me, the individual, because I, Adam Johnson, do not own the property in which they're staying in. That's just an example. Again, take that for what it's worth. Talk to a CPA or an attorney. But you want that separation of liability because I don't want a person that stays in one of our Airbnbs or one of our long-term tenants to try to sue me and my family to take our personal residence. So you want that separation of liability first and foremost. That's the biggest piece of advice I could give you as an investor, not as a CPA or an attorney. I can't say that enough. So you have two business entities set up in general. You have an LLC, which is a lower liability company, and then an S Corp, and they're taxed differently. And they're based off of many factors. I encourage you to talk to your CPA to see, tell your CPA what kind of business you're going into, what are your short and long-term plans. Are you looking to buy houses and hold them? Are you looking to buy houses and flip them? Because quick money versus long-term money may have different tax implications and those types of things. So, but LLC or S Corp, we are an S Corp. We have flipped houses in our S Corp. We have long-term rentals in our S Corp. We have short-term rentals in our S Corp. It works for us. Talk to your CPA. Now, some people, they want to save every penny they can, so they'll do what's called DBA, doing business as. I don't encourage that. I would never run a business, a DBA, doing business as, because if I am, for example, Johnson Property Investments doing business as Adam Johnson, there's no separation of liability. The entity, the Johnson Property Investments doesn't have its own entity. So that's why I kind of steer away from that kind of stuff. So you want to have an LLC or an S Corp. You want to have that LLC or S Corp have its own insurance, its own everything. It's not you. I can't say that enough. It's not you. When you set up your entity, your S Corp or your LLC, your business, that business needs its own email account, it needs its own phone number, and it needs its own cloud to store your documentation. Here's one thing I see a lot with young investors, and it's just my recommendation. I recommend when you set up your email account is that you do it, we use Google Business or something of that nature, but
My email handle is adam@joeproinvestments.com. It's not adam_joeproinvestments@gmail.com. So, and the reason I say that is because in the eyes of the consumer, your clients, you want to look as professional and as established as possible. So if I'm, Larry buys houses at Gmail, that doesn't really come across. But if I'm Larry at Larry Homeowners or at LarryHomebuyers.com, it kind of gives me the perception as a consumer that this guy is an established business and we're ready to operate. So that's just a small detail that, in my opinion, is very important, because perception is reality. You want to come across to that seller that you got your stuff together and you're ready to make a move on their property. A business phone. Nowadays, everything is app form. So you can do Google Voice, you can do Grasshopper. There's many of those. The reason you want a business phone number dedicated just for that purpose is because you don't want to have people calling you, at all times of the night while you're at the dinner table with your family, and then your phone rings because you've been handing out your primary phone number. We use Google Voice for our Airbnb clientele, and we use Grasshopper for our long-term clientele, long-term rental tenants and that kind of stuff. They have different purposes, and we have different parameters set up, with, like, for example, I think with Grasshopper, you can say that your phone will not ring between, for example, 6 p.m. and 4 a.m. the next day. You have those parameters because you want to be home with your family, enjoying your family, not worrying about that phone ring. So that's another recommendation of ours that has been very beneficial, because I'll wake up the next morning, there'll be 7 or 8 missed phone calls in the middle of the night that were not important, but they did not bother us because they went to our business line service. So something to think about there. And then the business cloud, okay? When I say cloud, I mean a place to store all of your files. We use not the Gmail, but the Microsoft Cloud, Outlook. We use Outlook Cloud. And it's super important because at any time I go talk to a CPA, a banker, whatever, I need to produce documents, I have everything on my cloud on my phone. When I very first started coaching clients one-on-one, the gentleman was ready to go to the bank, and he had stored all of his documents on his desktop. That did him no good unless he had that computer with him. So as a new coach mentor, that's one of the things that you didn't think about until the time comes. So I always push that. Please have everything you do backed up on the cloud. Everything we do is backed up twice on, like I said, the Outlook and also the Gmail. We'll pull that every couple months and duplicate recording everything, because you can never be too safe with all your files. So something to think about as well. So get a cloud service so you can always, at all times, my phone has the link to that cloud. Anytime I ever need my Social Security paperwork, my Army stuff, my whatever, business related, personal, I have access to it because I have a cloud set up. That's just keeping it easy for you and everybody you work with. I kind of hit on it a little bit earlier. The main thing for us is separation of liability. Separation of liability meaning off of me and onto the business, or off the business onto me. For example, if I do something wrong, me, the individual, you can come after me, the individual, not the business and the assets within the business. So talk to a CPA, talk to an attorney for that stuff. But also you want to protect your business. Having an entity, there's different tax implications, amongst other things. Having the insurance just on your business, you want to protect your assets. When you're starting out, you may not think so because there's not a lot of money coming in, but after you've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 months, a year and a half, and you have 4, 5, 10 properties, you're gonna start making a pretty good amount of money, and you're gonna need to protect that. So don't wait until that point. On day one, set yourself up for success as if you already have 10 properties. And that's how your mind needs to think, that you're gonna have that workload. You're gonna have that amount of income coming in. You're gonna have all these things happening. So set yourself up for success from day one. Building your team. Your team is as valuable as you are, almost. Just they're one notch on you. Now collectively, our CPA, our attorney, our contractors, our electrician, our plumbers, all that, those are the people that really make our business run. I'm just kind of overseeing. But those are the people that really, when I need something or there's an issue, I can call one of those individuals in that specialty and get things knocked out, get things done. Now, how do you find these people? Well, there's one easy way that everyone can do this, and that's going to a REIA meeting, REIA, Real Estate Investor Association. Almost every mid to large city, so we're in Clarksville, Tennessee, not a big city, but almost every city, at least our size, maybe even a little bit smaller, have the RIA meetings, the Real Estate Investor Association meetings. You can Google those. Those are free to the public. And when you go to the RIA meetings, you're going to meet everybody that works on real estate. Everybody. You're going to meet roofers. You're going to meet hard money lenders, private money lenders, electricians, realtors, home stagers. We've actually got home stagers from those meetings to stage our properties when we flipped them and sold them. When I say everybody that deals with a house will be at those RIA meetings, contractors. And God forbid if they're not, at the time that you go to a RIA meeting, there's going to be other investors. And you can go to that other investor and say, hi, my name is Mike. I'm a new investor in the area. I'm building my team. Do you have any recommendations for a good roofer? Do you have any recommendations for a good plumber? Because you want to talk to the people in the area doing what you want to be doing. Those are the subject matter experts. It's not Google. It's not Facebook Marketplace. For sure, it's not that. You want to talk with the individuals that are professionals in what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. You know, these other seasoned investors that have been investing in your area for 5, 10, 20 years, they know the ropes. They know who to call, who to talk to. They know which bigger companies are good to work with and which are not. They know which banks are more favorable to work with small business. They know these people. They know the individual who to talk to within said bank. So you're going to make friends at these RIA meetings. You're also going to get lots of great contacts, lots of business cards are going to be handed out. You're going to a lot of FaceTime meeting these new people that are going to be very beneficial over the next 5, 10 years of your business growing in the way it's going to grow. Bank accounts. Bank accounts for your business. I keep saying over and over that your business is not you. So while you have your own accounts, you have your Chase credit card, you have your savings account with whoever, that's fantastic. That is not the business. There's 5 accounts that the business needs. I know that may sound overwhelming at first, but listen to me. There's 5 accounts that your business needs on day one. And I got this from a book called Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Another great read. It's in my recommendation to all my clients. I highly recommend that book. I read that book about 2 years ago, and I immediately started implementing the systems within that book regarding finances. Immediately it changed our accounting for the better, and immediately it set us up for success with taxes moving forward. I tell the stories that before I read that book, every year come tax time, our tax burden would be $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. And most of the time we did not have that money set aside. So we were still using all the money out of one account. That can be scary when the time comes and you only have $11,000 or less in that account, but you need $12,000 or $15,000. So I read that book. I started using the steps that he put forth, and now by the 2nd or 3rd month of each year, we already have our taxes ready to be paid for the rest of the year, amongst other things happening in our business that wasn't there before. One more quick story about that book. In the book Profit First, this is the way he changed my mind how I look at money. Usually we think as a new business owner that money comes in, I pay out all my expenses, whatever's left over, that's my profit. And that's the exact wrong way to think about it, because you're at the mercy. Like it's all by chance. Things could go wrong and you may not have a profit that month. And that's not what we're doing. You know, you're in business to be profitable. First thing first is you got to have profit to be able to grow. So what I do now when money comes in, we immediately take our profit that we want, our desired profit for that week, that month, and put it into a different account. Now, whatever's left over is what I have to pay my expenses with. You know, that can sound scary, but we're on top of it. We've never come short, never come close to being short, because we manage our properties and our finances very well. So the thought behind that is you have to purposely make yourself profitable, period. You not by chance, we are going to be profitable. Whether it be 1% of gross income, 5% of gross income, whatever you and your partner agree to, that's what it's going to be, and you make it happen. So the 5 accounts that I recommend, I got this from the book Profit First, is number 1 is your operations checking account. Okay, money comes in, you pay the bills. That is what it is. That's the biggest account you're going to have is your operations, daily activities, monthly expenses, those types of things. Secondly is a savings account, okay? You've always heard the whole save up for a rainy day, or you've heard to save 3 months worth of expenses or 6 months worth of expenses. Whatever amount you decide to save, that's on you and with whatever works with your comfort level. But we purposely have X amount of dollars in that account and we leave it there. It's a savings account. We don't touch it. It's for a rainy day. It's for, God forbid we have a slow month or something with Airbnb. We're prepared. You don't want to leave that kind of stuff up for chance. So you need an operations account. As your big money comes in, money goes out to expenses. You need your savings account for that rainy day. We also use our savings account. We have another one. We have two. One is for our rental properties, our long-term rentals, their deposits. That's something else. The third account you need is a line of credit. A line of credit is great because it's money sitting there waiting to be used, but you're not being charged interest unless you use it. And you don't have to use all of it. A lot of small banks, local small banks, will give you a line of credit of $25,000 to $50,000, okay? Now you may think, why would I want $50,000 line of credit when I have to pay that back? You do not unless you use it, and you only start paying the amount you use. For example, we have a $50,000 line of credit. If I only need $4,000 for, a new roof, I can only pull $4,000, only pay interest and monthly payments back on that $4,000 and not all $50,000. And by the way, when I pay that $4,000 off, it goes back towards my account of $50,000 that I can use again. So a line of credit is in my opinion, crucial because you have to have access to capital. Even if you're a day one newbie and you don't have that money in your savings account, you don't have a lot of money coming in. If I called you and said, hey, Stacy, I got a deal for you. It's going to require $7,000 of rehab, blah, blah, blah. And you come back with, I don't have $7,000. You just lost potential. What if the equity was $25,000? So you may have lost a $25,000 profit because you don't have access to $7,000. Having access to capital is the name of the game. You don't have to spend it, but you have got to have access to capital. So that's why that line of credit is so important in any business, not just real estate, whether you're doing lawn care, barbershop, bakery. You've got to have access to capital for that rainy day that you may have not saved up for, or that opportunity that's too good to say no to. Credit card. You got to have a credit card. There's many credit cards that offer cash back and flyer miles and all that kind of good stuff. Again, you got to have access to capital. I mean, you may not. We've paid for flips off of credit cards when we first started out. That's it's not ideal, but you do what you have to do to make the deal work. But also, you're going to purchase things regardless. You're going to spend money on rehabs, on utilities, all that kind of stuff. You're going to spend that money on office supplies, on everything that it takes to run a business. Why not get kickbacks on that? My wife and I have not paid for travel or for food in the last 7 years. We have not paid for gas in our vehicles for the last 7 years because the credit card and certain things within the tax implications. Again, talk to your CPA. But yeah, we've legally done the right thing, separated the liability, have the business does what it does, and it's great. And I want all of you to experience that as well. And then lastly, the last account, I've talked about the operations account, the biggest, most important, the savings account for a rainy day, the line of credit, you need to have access to capital, the credit card, you're going to spend money, period. You're going to spend money every month on your business. Lastly is the profit account. Remember I said the book is called Profit First. We have a profit account. So every single transaction, positive transaction that comes into our business, every ounce of income, we take, for example, maybe 3% of that gross and put it to the profit account. We don't touch it. We don't see it. At the end of the year, it has ballooned to what it's going to be. And because we're a business, the business has the right to go on vacation for one vacation per year. So talk to your CPA about that as well. You may be able to set your business up so that your business can take you on a vacation at the end of the year. Or more importantly, if you're young starting out, I recommend taking that profit and putting it back into the business. Buy the next house or replace the flooring in house number one or something of that nature. We call it delayed gratification. You don't have to just because you have money blow it. Please don't do that. Especially as a young starting out entrepreneur, you don't want to blow your profits. You want to reinvest your profits, and that's That is why, in my opinion, a lot of small businesses fail, because when money begins coming in, we get excited, overly excited, and we start blowing it. I can honestly say, between my wife and I, we have never done that. We've never just, because we haven't blown it. We take care of us, we take care of the business, and we're always reinvesting. We're always, making our houses bigger and better, cleaner, new appliances, new fixtures, you name it. But we're always putting money back into the business, because the business is what allows us to have the financial freedom. They work hand in hand. It's a marriage. You and that business is a very close, tight-knit marriage. All right, moving forward. Establish a digital presence, okay? So when I first started learning real estate back in 2014, I went to a seminar, and it's one of the things they talked about was having, Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And at the time, there were many people in there that may have been, maybe in their 50s or 60s, that weren't super excited about being on a computer and Facebook and that kind of stuff. And what the teacher at the time let us know is that everybody, all your sellers, all of your tenants, all of your buyers, everybody is online right now. Everybody researches everything before they ever call you. Before, a lot of times before they pick up the phone and call you, they're going to get on Facebook. They're going to go to your business page. They're going to get on Instagram. They're going to go to your business page. They're going to read reviews. They're going to see what they can find out about you before they call you to entrust you in taking over their property, to entrust you in getting tenants for their property, or wherever the case may be. So having a website, it gives you credibility. Being on Facebook gets you a lot of people, lots of eyes on your business. We literally began with having a plain Jane generic Facebook page, Johnson Property Investments, just advertising we buy houses. That was as simple as it got, and sure enough, people started calling us. People started getting on Facebook and messaging us on Messenger. But had we not had that presence, we probably wouldn't have got those first few houses, because we did get houses off of Facebook. Google. When you have your website, Google obviously is tied into all websites, it seems like, as far as search engine. But they also you can have a Google business page as well. So you can kind of spread yourself thin by worrying too much about all 4 or 5 or 6 platforms. Or when things start going a little bit better, you can hire an assistant to work your website, to work your Facebook, your social media, and all that kind of stuff. Because you, as one person, you have to have help. And I meant to tell you that when building your team. Too many small business owners want to do everything themselves because they don't want to pay other people to help them. They think, why would I pay a marketing person when I can get on Facebook? Why would I pay a handyman when I can change a faucet? Those types of things. Well, if your business runs 100% through you, you have what I call a single point of failure. So God forbid, one day you're not available because you're sick, you got the sniffles, or you fall and break your leg, the business stops. Everything stops because you are the single point of failure. Plus, no matter how smart you think you are, I'm here to tell you that you're not the best at everything. One person cannot be the best handyman, marketing guru, website builder, plumber, electrician, know all the laws, all the accounting stuff. You can't, no matter how smart you think you are. So I learned early on to identify my shortcomings. Not a hit on me. It's not a hit on you to do an assessment of what you're good at and what you're not good at. And whatever you're not good at, or don't have time for, or don't enjoy, hire someone who that's their specialty. I would rather pay you to help me do it the right way as opposed to me try to save a penny and mess it up. So something to think about, guys. You don't want to have a single point of failure in your business. You want to have help, but you want to hire high quality, great help that's going to set your business up for success. In closing, start your business off the right way. I recommend having an LLC or an S Corp established. Please talk to a CPA or an attorney. Tell them what you're trying to do, what your short-term goals are, your long-term goals, what your level of risk is, as far as being comfortable with what you're willing to take on. Start building your team today. All right, you guys, we're in this course now. That means you're serious. You're telling me right now that you're serious about real estate investing. Go to a RIA meeting. Get on Facebook, talk to other investors in the area. Start asking those questions. Who do you recommend for flooring? Who do you recommend for closing subject to deals? Talk to those attorneys. Go to the closing company, the title companies. Ask them what their subject to procedures are. Ask your attorney. Does your attorney have all the documents for you? We also have documents available on our website. I'll put the link below that we've used to buy all 50 houses. I will say when it comes to documentation, I'll cover this in another class, but the documentation is just as important as buying the house itself, to be protected and have the right verbiage in your contracts and that kind of stuff. So again, your CPA or your attorney is going to have the right documentation for your area. We've had people purchase our documents, take them wherever wherever they're operating in, and have their attorney look them over. They just make sure the verbiage meets the requirements for Texas, for Washington. We got clients across the country buying houses subject to, and we've never had our documents turned down. We've had them, like I said, a few things change because the verbiage or the lingo may need to be different to meet your county, your state requirements, and that kind of stuff. So yeah. Oh, accounts. Make sure you set up your 5 accounts at minimum. Those 5 accounts are crucial for your success starting out, on day one. Had we implemented the 5 account system on day one, God knows where we'd be right now on the positive note. We probably would be that much better off than what we are. And we're doing fine right now, but you don't know what you don't know starting out. We didn't know the 5 account system, and I'm here to help you out on day one. Again, you guys are hiring me to be